guys, and welcome to FNS Sports Media Podcast, episode 18. I'm Cooper.
My name's Aaron.
Let's get right into it.
All right, so in kind of a shocking event, a whole bunch of major league players, including some stars, were placed on waivers last night. Let's talk about what that means and who the impacted players are. So when we talk about players getting put on waivers, basically what it means is a team doesn't want to pay somebody anymore, and so when that happens, they get placed on waivers. They're cut. They're off the team, and the other 29 teams in the major leagues will get an opportunity to claim any of those players, and they'll be on the hook to pay the remainder of their salary for the rest of the season. The tricky thing is if they are claimed off of waivers and picked up before September 1st, those players will be eligible for the playoffs. And then so the claims work in the reverse order of winning percentage. So the teams with the worst record, they will be the ones they'll get first dibs at any of those players that are put on waivers. So a lot of times it's not a really big deal for those bad teams. In a lot of ways, it's not a big deal for the bad teams because they're not worried about picking up somebody for the remainder of the year. They're not worried about anything else like that. They're kind of in the dumps. They're like, whatever. So you get kind of to those fringe, middle of the pack playoff teams that are maybe looking for the opportunity to improve at a particular roster spot. And so if players are not claimed off of waivers, they stay on the team, okay? And then the team also has the option to just outright the player and designate them for assignment down to the minor leagues. And a player, if they've got enough major league service time, they can reject that, and they'll become a free agent. So that's kind of what the waiver process means. But there were a lot of players that were placed on waivers that could have a really big impact. And so one of the teams that was maybe one of the biggest offenders in last night's waiver wire dump was the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Angels are reportedly expected to place 6 veterans on waivers as a means of attempting to shed payroll and luxury tax commitments in the face of another lost season. Getting underneath the luxury tax line would also improve the Angels' draft pick compensation that they would receive if two-way Shohei Ohtani leaves as a free agent this winter, just saying. But among those impacted are recent additions: Lucas Giolito, Dominic Leone, Ronaldo Lopez, and Randall Grichuk, as well as Hunter Renfroe and Matt Moore.
Man, it just seems like, I feel like just a couple weeks ago we were talking about what a bad idea it was for the Angels to go all in.
Yeah.
For the Angels to go all in and try to make the playoffs instead of trading Shohei Ohtani. And I think this just kind of confirms it. Randall Grichuk, Lucas Giolito, those are two of the biggest players that they spent a lot. Like they emptied out their prospects in the minor leagues to try to get those two guys. Add veterans like Matt Moore and Hunter Renfroe to players that they placed on waivers. Just looks like a bad idea. Looked like all of those trades and trying to push for the playoffs was just a bad idea for the Angels.
Those 6 players won't be the only notable names available for the contenders to think about over the coming hours. According to Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic, here are some other veterans believed to be on waivers. Harrison Bader, center field, Yankees. That's surprising. Carlos Carrasco, right-handed pitchers for the Mets. Mike Clevenger, right-handed pitcher for the White Sox. And Jose Cisnero, right-handed pitcher for the Tigers. For the most part, the players placed on waivers across the league will usually be impending free agents who are on teams without playoff chances. Yeah, like Yankees, last place, or close to last place. Mets, they're not winning anything. The White Sox, maybe, but I think they're too far. And the Tigers, they're not doing anything.
Yeah, so it's just one of these last ditch efforts by a lot of teams to shed some payroll, players that they couldn't trade, at players they couldn't trade at the deadline, players that are pretty expensive that are going to go somewhere else. It's like, hey guys, you players that or you teams that have a chance at making the playoffs, here's some guys. See if you can't figure that out. I think in addition to those players, you have Josh Donaldson being placed on as a free agent by the Yankees as well. Yankees cutting a bunch of payroll, just finally looking like they're accepting the fact that
They're having a losing season.
that they're going to have their first losing season in over 30 years this year. So
yeah, that's very crazy.
Boo-hoo, makes me so sad. Couldn't happen to a better team. But I think that just a lot of big news happening yesterday in terms of the waiver wire. You normally don't see a team like that place a bunch of players out there on waivers. We'll see what happens. We'll see how many of them get claimed by other teams, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens after that too. If the Angels just designate those players for assignment, or if they keep them on the roster.
Yep. Thanks to Clutch Points, The Athletic, ESPN, and MLB.com for the information, as well as CBSSports.com. We hope you liked this short waiver wire episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll see you guys later.